As you may know, I'm doing a no buy year for 2026. In order to do that, I'm going to have to set myself some rules. So I've come up with a list of 30 different rules that I'm going to try and do, you might want to try and do, so that we can be successful in our no buy year. We're talking no impulse spending, no emotional shopping, no pretending it's just £5, just £10, just 20. So what is a no buy year? If you're not sure already, I have shared a video about how to do a no buy year for 2026 and how to be successful, and there's loads of great starting points for you to check out. But basically the idea is that any excess money after bills is your spend money, your kind of leftover money. That's the bit of money that we're tracking, and usually that would be frittled away on all sorts of different odds and sods around the home or trips out and things. But actually what we're going to do is we're going to stop that. We're going to stop that spending and we're going to reduce down what we have so that we are utilising what we already have already and actually stopping those purchases that we don't really need. Because let's face it, we are trying to save money, paying off debt, or trying to build an emergency fund. So let's get started with some rules. The most important rule of them all, as it's number one, is no impulse purchases. My suggestion would be to add it to a basket and let it sit there. Let it sit there for a day, 2 days, a week, a month if you can. You'll be surprised at the amount of times you look back at that basket, if you even remember, because quite often I don't. You look back at that basket and you realise, actually, I didn't need those items. Actually, that was just a in the moment thought, and really, I can live without that. That's the idea. You're trying to give yourself that thinking time to reassess your spending and really know whether or not you need that item. If you still need it after a week or 2 weeks, etc., then it's probably the right purchase for you. So the reason it's good is that it breaks that emotional spending. So add it to your wish list and wait a period of time that you feel comfortable with, and then review whether or not you need it. Rule number 2 is not to buy clothes unless they are worn out. Most people already own enough stuff. You'd be surprised the amount of stuff in your wardrobe that actually you're not wearing or not utilising. So it's time to rethink your wardrobe, think about different outfits that might go together, reassess your style. And my favourite kind of hack around this is if I sell an item, I can use that money to purchase something different for my wardrobe. So if you're looking for a workaround that doesn't cost money, that isn't spending, you have to sell something first. So this is an opportunity to reassess your wardrobe, go through, but you're not buying clothes unless you really need them, not unless they're worn out or tired or not being used. There may be a few items in your wardrobe as well that might just need amending, fixing, taking up or taking out. Think about ways that you can get the best out of it. Maybe ask a friend, or if you can say yourself, adjust those items and turn them into something better. This leads nicely into rule number 3, which is no fast fashion. When you're purchasing, really think about whether or not it suits like a long-term goal of yours, whether or not it's really going to suit your style for a good number of years. If you think it's just something that is just going to be a one-time purchase, is it something that you can rent if it's an item for a party or something, if it's a bigger spend item? So think about ways that you can avoid fast fashion and just utilize what you've got. It might be that you look at Pinterest boards, and when you look at that, there might be items within your current wardrobe that actually, if you piece them together in the right way, they would still create that outfit. So see if there's ways that you can do that. And if you are still keen on purchasing, like I said, you could sell items and use that money to fund things, or you can shop secondhand. That is a good way of reducing down the cost. So if you are giving yourself some fun money and that's an area that you want to buy in, buy it secondhand. Buy it for a couple of pounds rather than for 20. Think about ways that you're reducing that cost per wear of the item. Rule number 4 is to not have beauty backups. So not having lots of spare makeup in your drawer. Get in the habit of using things up. Project Pan is a great way of using items that you've already got to start getting in the habit of utilising all your eyeshadow palettes and using them until they are not usable anymore, until they are gone. And don't be buying anything unless you have actually run out. So this is a great area where you can have a one in, one out policy, so you only buy something new when you're actually running out of the item. Rule number 5 is to not buy any skincare items until you've used up the ones you've got. I'm guilty of this. I always get in like phases where I want to try and be better with managing my skin, and I'm really not. And I buy products and then they sit in the cupboard and then they don't do anything. So actually I need to use up the things that I've got before I can be allowed to purchase anything new. And a good way to succeed with that is to keep your routine simple and just use the same products for every single day and utilize those until they're used up. And then if you've got another set of similar products, then you can start that as your simple routine as well. So don't overcomplicate your routine to use things up, but keep it simple. And then when you've used that up, see if you've got anything else that you can then utilize. So number 6 is to not buy any makeup until you've actually finished an item, until you've actually used it up. I think this is a good way of keeping on top of the amount that you spend in a year. So actually use up what you already have. We always overconsume in this area, so really don't buy anything until you have nothing left. Rule number 7 is to not browse Amazon for fun. And that, I'm definitely guilty of this one. I can just sit on Amazon and just search for things. And actually, I don't know what I'm doing with my life if that's what I'm finding fun. I need a better hobby. And you need a better hobby too. We need to stop doing this. We need to stop browsing on Amazon for random stuff that we really don't need. And if you're stuck with this one, remember about putting it in the basket and leaving it. Quite often the price goes up and down and you think, oh, actually, I wouldn't pay that much for it. Or if it does reduce down, that might be the time to buy. But actually, we don't need to browse Amazon. We need to find other things to do with our time, clear out things, anything, tidy, organise, but not browsing Amazon. Number 8, not buying things for just in case. I'm guilty of that one. I might buy something because I think, oh, actually, that might make a good present if I'm stuck for presents. Well, actually, let's just be more intentional with what I'm buying in the first place and use what I already have. And if I do need something, I write that list, then I buy that thing on the list. Let's not be buying things just in case, because that just in case moment often doesn't happen. And just remind yourself you can actually buy the item when you actually need it. There's only a few days in the year when you actually can't go into a shop. Most of the time you can. So actually, let's just buy it when we need it. Rule number 9, no home decor items. I'm pretty good at this one. I don't tend to buy things for my home. I think the last home items that I had were gifts last Christmas, where they were book vases, and love them. But I don't need to buy anything else. I've got the things that I need, and so no home decor items. A good way to get around this is maybe rearranging the stuff that you already have, maybe redo a shelf or a windowsill and make it look nice by just rearranging things in a different way. It's still freshen up the space. Number 10 is I'm not buying furniture unless it's necessary. I mean, I shouldn't need any furniture unless something breaks. So in theory, that should be an easy one to follow. But I think we need to learn to be content with the things that we already have. So again, wait before we make any purchases, think about it, check your measurements, and really think about whether or not it's actually going to be useful for your home. Rule number 11 is to have no paid apps unless you use them weekly. I don't think I actually have any paid apps. I'm very good at keeping my phone really simple. I don't like having games on there or any app unless I absolutely have to. So I don't have any paid apps. But if you do have paid apps, only keep them if you're actually using them every single week. I think weekly is a good enough amount of usage. If you're not, do you need to be paying for that app? Another opportunity to save some money there. Number 12 is no buying books. Not my favourite rule. I think my only exception to this rule is I have some favourite authors that if they have a book out, and usually they bring it out around my birthday, I usually try and get that. But my way around it is if I get gift cards, I can buy books of those, or if I get birthday money, I can buy books of those. So that's my wiggle way around it. But generally, I don't buy books, and I do use my library app on my phone because that's free books and I don't have to store them, and I have loads of unread books that I need to work through. So that is my goal. I need to read more of those. I was trying to read about 50 books this year. I've got to 39, but I'm almost finished on a couple of others. So I may get to closer to 50 by the end of this year, but having the library app has made that really doable. But yeah, not buying books. Rule number 13 is not buying planners or diaries or journals in mid-year. I definitely like a journal, and I have just bought a journal. Don't come for me. I've bought a journal club journal, which is already it's like a bullet journal, but already has pre-made pages in it. I like a bullet journal, but I just don't have the time or the energy to make lovely decorative pages. And this one has them already done. And I've just bought it. That was my gift to me for Christmas. And I absolutely love it. And I've got myself some nice pens to go with it, but I'm not buying stuff mid-year. I'm always tempted by journals and notebooks and planners, but I've actually got what I need for the whole year. I also have a monthly bullet journal that's already mapped out that I have for my decluttering. So I've got what I need. I have one for personal, one for business, all good. Rule number 14 is to not do any upgrades unless something is broken. So if something breaks in my home, like my hair straighteners break, for example, I'm not allowed to buy a new one unless it actually breaks. Like, that is the rule. I try and get it fixed if I can. If I can't, then that is when I will be able to repurchase the item. So essentially that means it's items that I'm using all of the time that I'm getting use out of, and that's why it's broken or needs upgrading. So in theory, I should only be replacing items. Number 15 is to avoid takeaways or eating out because it's convenient. I'm very guilty of a chip shop dinner when I am feeling lazy and can't bother to cook, even though it takes no time at all to cook. But my strategy is that I'm meal planning. I am planning for those days by having like cheat days like stir fry or pizza as options for those can't be bothered to cook days, and I've mapped those out. So in theory, I shouldn't need to do that, and maybe I just have it so that it is a planned meal within my budget once a month as a maximum. I think that's fair. Rule number 16 is no food delivery apps. I'm actually pretty good at that. I don't ever order food to my house. I don't ever do takeaways that way. If I go to the chip shop, I literally go there. So I don't actually have any delivery apps. But if you do, this is a good way to save a lot of money, because the delivery charges and the inflation on the cost of the food is quite a lot. So you're saving yourself a lot of money. Remember, meal planning, batch cooking. Those are your key to successful food budgets. Number 17, no drinks over a set budget. If I want to go out for a night out, I have a limit to the night. Maybe the limit is £20 and I can't spend more than that. So it means not buying drinks for others, or just being careful about the drinks I do have. I generally don't really drink alcohol, so usually my drinks are relatively cheap anyway, so it's just making sure that I'm budgeting for that carefully. Rule number 18 is not to buy supplies for hobbies. I've got various hobbies that I've already got the supplies for. I do running, I do badminton, I like to do painting, line dancing. I don't need anything to do these hobbies. I've already got the stuff, already got shoes, already got equipment. I don't need to buy anything else, and I should only have to buy something if something breaks and I don't have a spare. So in theory, I shouldn't need to buy in this area. Number 19, no buying duplicates. Duplicate items are really easily done. Like if you forget that you've got a certain thing, or you can't find something in the kitchen and then you buy a replacement utensil and actually then you find it the next day. Not buying duplicates, really thinking about what you already have. So it's a good opportunity if you're having a bit of a tidy over Christmas to really go through stuff and think about what you already have. If you know what you already have and you've decluttered what you don't need, you will then avoid buying those duplicates because you'll know exactly where things are and what you already have in your inventory. Rule number 20 is no treat yourself spending without planning. So I have a set like fun money amount, like it's £50 a month, but I actually need to plan with that. So it might be that I've arranged to have lunch with a friend, or actually some of that comes out of that budget. That's part of my socialising budget, and I need to factor that in. So I need to plan what I'm going to have and make sure I don't go over a certain amount, so that I've got enough money for drinks when I go to the theatre, etc. So I'm really thinking about the fun money and where I need to spend it. Rule number 21 is no buying just because it's on sale. I think we're really easily led to sales and think, oh, let's just have a little browse, have a little mooch. And actually we end up buying things that we don't need and we're not really thinking about. So actually we need to avoid the sales. Unless you have a specific list of things that you need, we shouldn't be buying the sales. So really think about that when it comes to the Boxing Day sales. A good way to put your head around this is, would you buy it if it was full price? If the answer is no, then actually it's probably not that good of a deal and you don't really love it. Number 22 is no trend-based products. Just because something is fashionable at the time, like sometimes certain cameras are fashionable, or certain devices or certain apps, we don't need it just because it's been advertised to us all the time on different algorithms. We don't need something because it's been advertised on TikTok. We actually need to be strategic with what we're buying. So we're not buying things just because everybody else is telling you you should. And that leads into number 23, no social media influence purchases. We don't need something just because somebody tells us we need to buy it. We don't need those things in our life. Really think about it. Have that again in your basket. If you still need it after a month, then it might be something that benefits you. But if not, let it go, remove it from your basket. Rule number 24 is not buying things out of a preset budget. So if you're doing something similar to me, like having a sinking fund for gifts, then actually you have a budget amount that you want to spend per person, then you need to stick to that budget. If your budget is £50 per person, do not go over that. Think strategically about what you can get or when you can buy it at a good price so that you're not overspending. Rule number 25 is no shopping when you're bored, sad, or stressed. I'm definitely guilty of this one. This is when I have racked up my credit cards because I just felt sorry for myself on certain days and I thought, oh, that little treat will make me feel better, but it doesn't when you've got the debt. So actually, we don't need to buy things in those times in our life. We need to find something positive to do instead, practice gratitude and think positively, show kindness to people, make things, be busy, but not be busy spending. We don't need to do that when we're bored or sad or stressed. That's not going to solve the problem. And a good way to tackle this is to have a kind of self-care selection of things that will make you feel good. Maybe it's journaling, maybe it's going for a walk, doing some exercise, meeting up with a friend. Think about that list of things that will make you feel better, and those are the things that we do when we're bored, sad or stressed. Rule number 26, we're not going to buy organisational items until we have decluttered. If you are trying to declutter to fill your time, which is a great strategy when you're bored, sad or stressed, declutter as much as you can first before you think about how you're going to organise the stuff. That's when you know what kind of baskets you need or trays for drawers. You need to know what it is you're storing where first and how much stuff you're trying to store before you can know how to organise it. So declutter, declutter, declutter. Rule number 27, don't buy things that you can borrow. If you're doing a little DIY job and you just need to be able to put up a shelf but you don't have a drawer, see if you can borrow one from somebody rather than paying out for one. We don't need to add extra things to the task by buying things. We just need to see what we can utilise from other people as well. And there will be people that will happily help. Rule number 28 is not to buy seasonal items too early. Buy them in the actual season. I think we can be emotionally charged when it comes to leading up to a season, like leading up to Christmas. We can buy things quite early in September and then we overbuy because we don't really remember what we've got and how much. And we then see something else that might be better and then we disregard the thing that we've already bought. Don't buy it until the season so that you're not over consuming. Rule number 29, no purchases without a purpose. You need a purpose for that item. Is it going to serve you? Is it going to work for you? Can you utilise that clothing item in 3 different occasions? Can you utilise that device? Do you think that you're going to use it enough? Really think about what it's going to do for you in your daily life and how it's going to work. If it's not going to serve you, it's not worth buying. And rule number 30, there is no shame if you mess up. We are all going to have days that are tricky. We're all going to make mistakes and that's okay. We write that day off and we start a new day the next day and we start again. Those mistakes are good learning opportunities. It helps us to understand ourselves better and sometimes we need those moments to put us back on track and really go for it. So don't be afraid when things don't go right. So hopefully those no-buy rules will be helpful for you for your no-buy for 2026. And let me know in the comments if you've got any additional rules that we can add to the list that you think will work for you, or which one is your favourite that you're definitely going to try and track. And don't forget, track where you're spending and track what you're doing every week. Keep those receipts, track what you're doing so you know how much you're spending. And let me know how you get on in the comments. I shall be back for more videos soon. Take care. Bye.